go away and come back and there's no one else.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna, give me just 2 minutes, I'm gonna start this. I'm just waiting for the recording to start.
Were you at Terry's thing?
Okay, Chair, are we ready to call the meeting to order?
Yes, we are ready. This meeting is called to order at 6:30. Please join me in Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Yes, just one moment, please. Okay. Youth Commissioner Catherine Bitt,
Here.
Commissioner Barry Christian,
Here.
Commissioner Sean Hughes,
Here.
Vice Chair Debbie Chavaria,
Here.
Chair Tara McClinton Horner,
Here.
and Commissioner Nance Matson. I'm sorry.
Here.
Okay. Are there any public comments for items not on the agenda? We have no public comments.
Okay,
So-
public comment is closed.
I'm sorry, I jumped ahead of you.
Okay, I believe we have an introduction.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I would like to take a moment and welcome a new member to Team AC. We have recently hired a sustainability coordinator. Her name is Lauren Webster, and I believe I got her name correct. We're going to have her come up to the podium, and she is actually going to help us with our sustainability portion of the Open Space, Active Transportation, and Sustainability Commission. So we're super excited to be able to welcome her to our team, and this is going to be a face that you're going to become familiar with, and you won't have to work with me, this crazy face, when it comes to sustainability. You're going to have a much more expert at the table to help us. So I want to welcome Lauren and have you all get to know her.
Welcome, Lauren. Thank you so much.
Do you want like a few words about my background and things like that? Okay, awesome. So again, my name's Lauren. I'm working with the city part-time on all things sustainability. My background is in biology. I'm local to Napa, actually. I live just north up there. I went to Sonoma State for biology and did remote sensing and LiDAR, but the last couple years I was actually at NASA. I was at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory in Pasadena studying water quality over in the southeastern United States via satellites, and then I became full-time at Ames Research Center in Silicon Valley, leading a program called Develop, which really connects organizations, students, early career professionals to accessing NASA's satellite data for projects that even like local cities like American Canyon can use. So I did a lot of urban heat studies, helping cities figure out where to plant trees, monitoring coastal water quality, lots of different things. Those are a couple of the highlights, but I'm very excited to be here with you all now. I'm here Tuesday through Friday, also doing some work at the water reclamation facility, learning how to be in their lab and test the waters, do some outreach, help with SB 1383, and then I'm also at City Hall twice a week, looking at things like the RCAP, Marin Clean Energy, and things like that. So again, excited to be here and happy to hear what you have to say tonight.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, welcome.
I have
Welcome.
a question. Can we ask questions?
All right.
Somebody today from the Land Trust was telling me that the number one recommendations by scientists in terms of climate change is to have wildlife corridors. And I hadn't heard that before, and I'm not exactly sure how that would affect them. But if either today, or it's not an agenda, so I don't know if we're allowed to talk about it, but either today or at the future, I'd like to hear more about that. And I think the wildlife corridors will be on the agenda later today.
What's the question?
If you know anything about that.
Yeah,
Great.
I would want to do more research before I gave you a definitive answer, but being in a city like American Canyon, where we have the highway running through the whole town, it's definitely something to consider. As you know, we have sea level rise and animals trying to get across to the valley over there. So
Yeah.
something I can research and kind of come back to you with a more official report of kind of recommendations.
Terrific, and welcome.
Response.
We're going to appreciate the help.
Thank you and welcome. Okay, moving on to our first business item, the minutes of March 4th. Do I have a motion to accept?
I move to accept.
Thank you. Second?
I second the motion.
Who?
Nance.
Nance? Okay,
And then Sean?
okay.
I accept.
Okay, hold on just 1 second. Just bear with me for 1 second.
Do you want to call for a roll call?
I am so sorry. Would you like a roll call vote? Sure. Commissioner Barry Christian. Yes. Commissioner Sean Hughes.
Yes.
Commissioner Nance Matson.
Yes.
Vice Chair Debbie Chavaria.
Yes.
Chair Tara McClinton Horner.
Yes. Okay, our next item is the draft fiscal year 26-27 annual work plan.
Thank you, Chair. So it is that time of year for us to start talking about our next fiscal year work plan that will begin on July 1st of 2026 and go through June 30th, 2027. That's a little weird to start thinking about that. But it is that time of year to start thinking about this next fiscal year. And as you all are aware, we are coming up to the end of this fiscal year, and we have our joint special meeting with council on June 16th. And this is where we will present our next draft work plan. And I wanted to kind of take a moment and walk through this year's work plan and celebrate all the great work that this commission has completed. I do think it's a great opportunity for us to memorialize what we have done in these very short 10 months. As you all are aware, we do not meet in July or January, so just imagine the work that has been completed so far. So we have been working on the Parks and Recreation Master Plan. This has been 20 months in the making, and we hope to have that adopted in June at our joint special meeting with the council. We had continued the work on the bicycle-friendly designation that has been completed. We received the bronze designation until June of 2029. Item number 3, we established the courtesy trail signage, including considering bicycle speed limits. That has been completed. We've established that signage, and staff is currently working on putting that signage out and doing communication outreach and with the public to really establish that courtesy signage and really focus on courtesy rather enforcement. And then engage with NVTA on the updated combined bicycle and pedestrian plan that has been completed. We received a presentation from NVTA on March 4th at that meeting. We understand the BCDC sea level rise report for American Canyon pertaining to SB 272. That has been completed. We received a presentation from city staff on December 3rd, 2025. Review the Regional Climate Action and Adaptation Plan. That was completed. We received a presentation on September 16th. For community engagement and sustainability initiatives, we were able to encourage residents to use the Napa Climate Now website to become more aware of their climate footprint. That has been completed. Staff added the Napa Climate Now information to the city's website and pushed information out through the city's social media channels and the city manager's newsletter. We have prepared a roadmap to the 2030 to engage with, we did not do that yet, we mapped sustainability initiatives from the general plan. That was completed. We received a presentation from city staff on November 5th, and we received and filed presentation from the Public Works Department on a complete streets and how that applies to capital improvement projects, and that was done on December 3rd. And then we reviewed the fiscal year 26-27 capital improvement program projects, and that was completed by city staff on March 4th. Some of the recommendations that we would like to have you consider for this evening to potentially be on next fiscal year's work plan is consider the wildlife corridor planning analysis. This came up at the joint special meeting on April 1st when we were discussing our Parks Master Plan. It really was determined that this really should be part of the general plan and not the Parks Master Plan. This requirement does require cities to adopt something within their general plan by, I believe it was January 1st of 2028. And so we felt it was more appropriate to do that work here with the potential of having that update be in the general plan. And first do the analysis and really understand what that means for American Canyon and how that would be incorporated into the general plan. So really it's going to be an analysis, an evaluation process. Second, bicycle education and safety programming. This really came about from the report card that we got back from from our bicycle designation. And this would focus around programming, specifically develop and expand bicycle education, safety, and encouragement programs with a focus of K through 12 and safe routes to school through partnerships, classroom-based instruction, and community outreach. We already have a safe routes to school program here in American Canyon, but we want to expand that and work with the schools. We really think there's an opportunity to educate the youth here in American Canyon more than what we already are doing, and work with the parents and the educators on expanding that program a little bit further than what we're already doing. And then residential tree planting program. This came about from this current fiscal year. We had an initiative to do more tree plantings from Commissioner Christian. And so we wanted to explore and develop a program that would encourage residents to plant more trees in their front yard. This city initiative program would provide incentives, support local businesses, and increase an urban tree canopy here in American Canyon and support our sustainability goals. And then lastly, look at the reusable foodware ordinance for American Canyon. We would evaluate and develop a reusable foodware and waste reduction ordinance, including review of regional models, stakeholder outreach, and potential implementation strategies. And this was a recommendation by Napa Climate Now. And this concludes my staff report. Thank you so much, Chair.
All right, thank you. Do we have any, we'll start with commissioner questions, and then we'll go to public comment, and then commissioner comments at the end. Okay. So anybody have any questions? Go ahead.
I do.
I have a question about the second item, the bicycle education and safety programming. Cara emailed me and Allie and Erica this afternoon, and she mentioned that there's potential of a grant that they had and may get refunded, and or might want to go for a community grant. How does that fit into this item? Is it just part of it?
I read her email, and it seems like there's just a lot up in the air, and I really can't answer that question because it's kind of a wait and see. We're really unsure if the city is going to offer any community grants next year. That's really dependent on the budget, what the council decides for next fiscal year. And then it looks like it really is dependent on if there's going to be any funding for the Napa County Bicycle Coalition as well. So what I would recommend at this point is just move forward with the plan of doing our own outreach. And if there happens to be any additional funding, then absolutely let's go for it. But based off of just having this on the work plan, we can at least have our own goal with the potential to do the outreach. And then if there is a funding element where there's an opportunity where we can get additional funding, absolutely let's go for it.
Okay, and she mentioned some things in terms of teens and adults and also e-bikes. Is this item broad enough that we could consider bike education for adults, or are we trying to focus on the kids?
So the report card itself focused around K through 12 education. I'm not opposed to, e-bike education. There's, with Cal Cities, with the League of California Cities, there's been a lot of conversations about e-bikes and education around e-bikes and what that means with children, I'm going to say minors, and how dangerous they are. And there are rules and restrictions that parents should be aware of. And we absolutely can try to do some additional education and outreach to help inform parents around what that means and the different types of classifications and I think we would want to really understand what that would mean and what type of education we're going to want to put out there. So maybe that's a separate conversation with Kara of what she wants us to educate, because there's just a lot of information out there, and I would really want to kind of understand what particularly she would want us to focus on.
Yeah, and it seems like it's a pretty hot issue right now.
It is.
So my question is, should we include it in that item so that we have the ability to discuss it, or does it matter?
It's up to
Yeah.
your recommendation.
Okay. I have, I think, 3 things to add. Do you want me to, but I'll do that when we, I guess one question is, actually questions, not comments. On last year's work plan, we didn't get all the sustainability things done. So is there a way, and I know with Lauren here, things are going to be moving and changing, but we don't have anything on the work plan about sustainability specifically besides, I mean, there are items, but in terms of referring back to the general plan mapping and things, is it possible, I guess that goes into comments. So anyway, I guess I'm wondering how we reflect that in the next year's work plan.
Yeah, so I should have ended with the goal for this evening is we've provided recommendations. The city staff has provided recommendations of what we would like to see on this year's work plan. The goal for the commission is to also add items that you would like to see on the draft work plan to be presented to city council. And we will go through that process with council and provide them with a staff report and tell them what you would like to focus on. And that will be a discussion that this commission will have with the council on the 16th. And if you want to add sustainability items or open space or active transportation, this is the time to have that conversation and that recommendation.
Thank you.
So I love the tree planting initiative, but in people's yards, I think that's a lot more limited than what we could do. I'm wondering why we haven't considered, we've got 640 acres at Newell, and then I forget the numbers when we were doing the parks plan. They're talking about how much acreage we have in the wetlands. And so there's been a number of initiatives there, and so I'm wondering why we aren't looking at a way we can get volunteers involved with tree planting at Newell and in the wetlands and other public parks. So that's my question, but it will also be a comment, I guess, when we get to discussing what we want to see on this, on the work plan.
Hi, actually, I really love the residential tree planting program. I think that's great. And I have a question regarding the placement of the trees. So the tree in the front yard of the residence, would it be possible to add, just like off of what Barry just said, in different locations, the back of the backyard, basically? If there's enough in the front, could we offer that option to residents, maybe as a
I think this will be,
incentive?
when we get to that agenda item in the year, I think we'll talk more about it.
Okay.
Probably review the ordinance too,
About
like what
that.
it has in there
Okay.
already, and,
Okay,
yeah.
great. Thank you.
Any other questions? Oh, somebody else? Who was that? Go for it.
I want to second what Barry said. I think it would go a little further if we really tackled some of the open spaces. So I just want to kind of reiterate what Barry said. Also, with all the insurance stuff going on right now, people getting dropped for having vegetation around their yards, it's kind of a, I don't know.
Is this
It's
a
gonna be
question?
moot. No, it's not a question. Oh, yeah, can we see more tree planting in open spaces? I'll stop there. Thank you.
Okay, all right. I'd like to open it up for public comment at this time.
Is there any public comment in the room? Nope, and there's nobody online, so no
Okay.
public comment.
Okay, public comment closed. The reason why I'm doing this format, by the way, this is in this, when the city gives us the binder of how they want the meetings to be run, this is the order that they requested it. So that's why we do it this way. Okay,
We just
now
have a
we're,
hard time remembering what's a question versus a comment. They seem the same sometimes.
and sometimes it's hard to tell, like, wait, is this a question? Is a comment coming? Like, I don't want to cut people off, but you know. So we're on comments. Did you want to, Nance?
Unless somebody else wants to
Commissioner
go
Mattson?
first.
Let's go in the same order.
Okay. I like what's here, what's proposed. I'd like to add in the standing one we have, which is reviewing the CIP. And I know
Can we, I'm
in
sorry.
terms of, yeah,
Can we get this on either our screen? Because I don't have a list here of what's currently on there. Do you have that available that we can?
A printed agenda?
No,
with
okay.
this item.
Yeah, just the stuff that's on the work plan, just,
Here, I
So
can
it's-
give you mine after I,
It should be, so you all received your iPads and you
yeah,
should.
I know. I was gonna bring it and I go, well, it's always on the screen, so I don't have to bring it. And, you caught me being lazy.
okay, so the CIP, the leftover sustainability issues, and I don't know if it's something that Lauren's going to work on, is what's reasonable, what, you know, I don't want to, you know, ask you to give us the world on the first day, but I don't know how we put that into our work plan, whether it's work with a sustainability coordinator to review plans, or I don't know. I don't know what staff is thinking of doing.
Can you, do you mind elaborating, Nance, for me, when you say leftover sustainability? Were you, because you just gave Barry your packet, so I am going to,
Well, I can look at Debbie's packet.
okay.
Okay, so
It said increased percentage of marin deep, excuse me, I cannot read today. Marin clean energy deep green customers. So we've had them come out a couple times and given presentations.
yes.
So what more would you like from them?
Oh, I just wonder if we increase the percentage or not.
So
And then
maybe we can have them come out and
They
give
don't
another.
even need to come out, just, you know, if we can just get the information.
Like, this might be a dashboard item, right?
Hmm?
This would be a dashboard item, right?
A dashboard item?
Remember we talked about the sustainability dashboard on the website that
Oh.
kind of has our progress?
Oh, good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which actually, that was a low-hanging fruit too, was the dashboard.
Yeah. Yeah, did we engage with the youth of American Canyon besides Catherine coming and talking to us? I know that at the last, not this city council meeting, but the last one, they presented on sea level rise, and I can't remember if there was any other sustainability in that, but it was excellent. And the increased tree plantings, we're handling that by this partnership tree planting. But preparing the roadmap is something we haven't really done, and
We,
or have we?
We did complete, hold on, I'm sorry, hold on one second. We put that one on hold.
Okay,
We put that one on hold because we were waiting for the.
Oh, the RCAP?
The RCAP. That one was on hold because of the RCAP.
and the RCAP's been accepted and put in place now, or is it still under
No,
review?
it has not been accepted yet.
Okay.
We received a presentation. So the 2030 roadmap has been put on hold because we're waiting for the RCAP.
Okay. At city council last night, on the consent calendar, they approved the sea level rise planning contract, I think.
Yes.
Is that something we can review during the year? I know that they're going to have a TAC, but I don't know I don't have the expertise to be on a TAC for that subject, but, so I think the TAC's going to be mostly experts in the field. So I don't know if somebody else maybe has a secret expertise I don't know about yet, but I'd like to see a presentation on where, when they get to a milestone, if there's something to present to us, it would be good to have that presentation.
Yeah, be a part. So maybe we can say be a part of the BCDC sea level rise planning process.
Yeah, or have presentations on when there's specific deliverables that
Yeah.
look like presentations.
I think that's,
Stay
I think that's, okay, yeah.
Okay.
I think that's a great idea. So yeah, like we can say, yeah, I get what you're saying.
Okay.
It's the RSAP, right?
Our cap?
RSAP? Isn't it
RSAP? Oh, the sea level rise?
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. A resilient.
Regional.
sea, whatever, okay.
Well, this one will be, remember, this one's going to be pertaining to American Canyon. So American
Yeah.
Canyon is making their own plan. So the BCDC has a regional plan, and then American Canyon is making their own plan.
Are we working with the county on that?
So the county's making their regional plan, and the American Canyon is making their own plan.
So, okay, because you said BCDC is doing the original, but then you said the county is doing their own plan?
So BCDC is requiring the county to make a plan, right? So it's requiring all the counties, like all. I
Well,
don't
the
have all
state-
my
the
notes.
state
I
is.
do not have all my notes in front of me, so please forgive me. I am new to this, and I literally just learned about this. Like, maybe Lauren can come up to the podium, and maybe she can school me on this. But let me just keep this simple for myself. American Canyon is making their own plan.
Okay.
And that's
that
a
is-
requirement too, right? That the cities also have to make a plan or not?
No, I think it's just, I just think the county has to make a plan, but I think because American Canyon has the wetlands, and Lauren, you are more than welcome to step in if you want to correct me. No,
No.
BCDC, the sea level rise? Okay,
Okay,
I think it's municipal agencies that are on the coast, well, not just the coast, but,
On
the
the
sea,
water.
bordered with the sea.
so American Canyon
Yeah.
received grant funding,
Right.
specific grant funding to create a sea level rise plan. That's what we are working on.
Okay, so there was one time there was a conversation that we might partner with the county, because there's some of the unincorporated area too, that might, like it was maybe gonna be a partnership, but it sounds like that's not happening, we're just gonna do it on our own.
Based off of what I received, the information that I received is American Canyon received grant funding, and we're going to be making our own plan.
All right,
I can double check my facts and just give me a moment.
I mean, I think that the application Brent put in was just for the city.
yeah.
I didn't,
Yeah,
I
it's
wasn't
just for
sure.
the city.
Yeah, okay.
Let me know when it looks like you're writing something, Ellie, so I'm gonna wait.
I am fact checking myself.
Okay.
Because I too make mistakes.
We all do. Oh, no. Yeah.
Do you remember if the Napa Climate Now website, did we do that instead of the dashboard? It was going to be on the city's website?
I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah, I can't remember if those,
Do you know, Lauren? Whether the Napa Climate Now is. Okay, so it's on the.
It is. Yes,
Okay,
that
it's
was
website,
that
okay.
was a request of Vice Mayor Joseph.
Okay.
I did also meet with Napa County today to add some.
Come up to the mic because it won't get on this.
Oh, nice. Ooh.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I can add at least on the topic of the dashboard and the website, I did meet with the sustainability planners from Napa County to get some updated links on our website for some of their initiatives. So their EASE program and a lot of things related to solar. So we have that. And also while she's looking up the sea level rise, I will say that the RCAP does address sea level rise in that plan. So it is kind of covered in that countywide plan as well, should American Canyon decide to adopt it when it's finalized. So it is covered in there, at least to some extent.
Thanks.
Are you attending the county meetings for sustainability? Nice.
The climate action committees,
Yeah.
yeah, it got canceled for this month, but I'll be at next month's.
Yes, so the City of American Canyon received a grant from the Ocean Protection Council under the Safe Drinking Water, Water Quality and Supply Food Control River and Coastal Protection Bond Act of 2006, Proposition 84, Prop 68 Environmental License Plate Fund in the amount of $383,070 to write a sea level rise plan for the City of American Canyon.
And we're probably required to do that, no?
I can't answer.
I
I
would
think
think that
this is
either
our
the-
own plan. So I think the region is they're writing a regional plan and then we are creating our own plan.
I thought that Brent talked about that each city was required
Yeah.
to do it when he presented on it, but we can leave that in. It's not important
Yeah.
to know that yes or no.
Yeah.
Okay, I have more things, and I'll move off the mic. What's the status of the county active transportation plan? Is it going to come back to us? Is there a time we need to review it again, or?
I'm going to have to ask, I'm going to have to look into that for you.
Okay. And then we talked when we were doing the park master plan about connectors between parks and open space. Is that something we want to take on this year, or is that something PCS would take on, or staff, or not this year? So,
Adding new connectors?
no, more promoting them to the, so people know, hey, this is how you get to this, like using wayfinding
Oh,
signs
wayfinding.
and stuff like that. And we have some of that. I just don't know whether it's a PCS or an open space. I don't know where it falls between the two of us. So,
It's up to you.
okay. That's all I have.
Okay. Commissioner Christian?
Okay, thanks. First with the trees. So I remember somebody asking me, an older person, is there any place in American Canyon where I can walk in the shade? And I thought about it. In the wetlands, it's pretty open. Newell's pretty open. And a year or two ago, I was at the Juneteenth celebration it's on Main Street. It's that lower sunken down place. I guess it's emergency water catchment, but it's also a park in the summer. And the taco trucks were up on the street, on the sidewalk. And I went up there, it was a warm day, but the trees were just creating an incredible canopy. And I noticed the temperature was like, wow, it just dropped. It was just so nice walking under the trees. So when I think about, asking people to plant a tree in their yard, I think it's great and it all helps. But in terms of our public spaces, I think that there's a tremendous amount we can do. And I was very privileged 8 or 9 or 10 years ago when RCD got a grant to re-oak the Napa Valley, plant oak trees. So big PG&E grant. They were going around. Eric McKee, and he knew I was up at Newell, and he asked me, where should we plant trees up here? And I thought, well, they're building that new development right above, and we walk up this trail. Wouldn't it be neat if we could shield them out by having the trees follow the trail? And RCD did the first planting, and they brought a bunch of volunteers up. Only about 7 or 8% of those trees actually made it, but no one stopped me from going out and watering trees and planting more trees and keeping that up. And then when Shalon Zudi was here, there was an attempted red-legged frog mitigation pond at the top of North Loop Trail. And Solano County was bugging her, hey, you should fill in that mud pit, because the cattle got in it, it's just a mud pit. So she says, you know, they're not going to call this a mud pit. And she set up a volunteer, it ended up being city employees that went up and put a fence around that. And then we did a planting there and had folks come in and plant oak and buckeye and willow trees. And I've kept up watering that, and I've kept up watering the ones between the parking lot and the barn. And just nobody stopped me, and it was, I figured maybe because I'm on the commission or whatever, but the city even, we got a 500-gallon water tank from Lynch Canyon. They lent it to us. It burned up in the fire, so we bought another one. I went and got it. The city paid for it, and the city's been filling that with water for me, basically. And I'm just thinking, okay, I haven't sued anybody. I haven't gotten hurt. The trees are doing great. They're like 3, 4 years, 5 years old. There's about 100 trees between the parking lot and the barn. We could do so much more than that if we just had a little organization, maybe someone from Parks and Rec to lead a maintenance session. I know RCD was offering to come out every year and bring volunteers and clear out the brush around the trees and put the cages back if it needed them and replace trees that were done. And we can do the same thing at the wetlands. We can slowly plant trees at the wetlands. When you take that first right turn, when you're walking almost to the methane plant. Because the fire department wants to take out those trees because they're eucalyptus, they burn too hot. They're afraid that the fire would spread to the warehouses. So you don't want to cut it out all at once because it's a lot of habitat. But if you start planting trees, and I understand the city has a contract with RCD, Ali Blodorn is doing that. And she told me, well, the reason they're planting them out around is because you want to get some trees out around there before you start cutting those down. So we could do a lot more there. We could do a lot up at Newell. And I'm not sure about that part by where I was at for Juneteenth, if that was on the city sidewalks or not. But I think there's a ton we can do. And I just read something, it was an article in Bloomberg News about the city of Paris and the mayor Hidalgo. And they completely transformed the downtown parts of Paris by taking out the roads. Now you've got roads right along the water there that used to be cars. Now it's people on bikes and all that. And they planted tons of trees, and they actually lowered the temperature. They lowered the temperature you had these big wide open spaces that were plazas, during the historical periods in Paris. They put in trails and they planted all these trees. And you've got all the pedestrians around and bicyclists from all the trails that are down. So it completely transformed the city of Paris in that downtown section. And if we're going to be a walkable city, I just think that there's a lot more areas here that we could do things like that. And then finally, there was a presentation by an urban ecologist on wildlife corridors, and they measured the stress level of wildlife and they found that if the animal only had hardscape for their territory, they needed 2 or 3 times larger territory. Whereas if they had greenscape, they needed less territory and they were less stressed. So the key there was plant some trees along your bicycle trails, because the animals will use that at night when you're not out there on the bikes. They'll use that as their wildlife corridors. So I think in terms of trees, I really want to see, I don't know how to do it, but I would really like to see a lot of people be able to do what I was privileged to do, to go out. And you get these trees after 3 or 4 years, you water them through the summers, and they're bulletproof after that. They're going to make it. And, it'll take 10 or 20 years, but they're going to be some beautiful oak trees on that path from the parking lot up to the barn. We can just do so much more. So I would really like to figure out, maybe we have to study it, but how can we get a volunteer program where we plant trees on public open spaces in American Canyon? So that's the first thing on that. And the wildlife corridor plan, I phoned up the land trust folks. I know someone there. to get an idea on what they're doing. For the past 10 years, wildlife corridors have been one of the main priorities of the Land Trust when they purchase new property. So they're trying to connect areas where animals can migrate from one place to another. And there's some of the grant money that might be available from this could be the Betty and Gordon Moore Foundation and the Jane Mead Foundation are places we might go for money. And for expertise, I would suggest the Land Trust in Napa County, because that's kind of what they're doing, and the urban ecologist who did that lecture I talked about. So I think that there's a lot of folks here that could come and give us some help on this and apply for grants too. And if we have to do this by the beginning of 2028, let's just say by the end of 2027, which is only a year and a half away now, let's get started. We have to do it anyway, but why should we wait? Let's begin to kind of ask questions, make connections, get some expertise, seek some grant funding for planning and studies. And I would really like to see wildlife corridors from the Newell open space down to the river. And then other connections too, within American Canyon. So that's one gripe I've had with the city. The city's never really put away any money for open space. We got Newell because it was donated, and we got the wetlands because Fish and Game got the Wildlife State Conservation Board to restore the salt ponds. So we got those. Mark Joseph, when he was city manager, he did put in and get a grant, and we purchased 400 acres from Port of Oakland, which is Clark Ranch, and then part of the wetlands was actually purchased. Port of Oakland, because they used it to mitigate something for the airport down there. So we got that land pretty much on the cheap, $400,000 that might have been. So the city hasn't really focused on that, and we're building up with all the warehouses. So I'm thinking, and a lot of people I know are thinking, let's preserve these as we build these warehouses. Let's preserve these wildlife corridors that both people and animals can use, and plus protect some land rather than just develop it all. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Christian. Anybody else?
Chair, if I may, I would like to just inform the commission of a few things. So the city has partnered with the American Canyon Community Parks Foundation and the RCD, and there is this joint partnership that we are working on that is initiative where we're doing the Right Tree, Right Place program. This past weekend, ACCPF along with RCD did hold a workshop down at Shenandoah Park. It was about an hour and a half. They walked the entire park. They pointed out trees of what belonged here in this in American Canyon based off the soil, based off the Mediterranean climate, what should be planted, what shouldn't be planted. We also have been actively working with RCD about the type of trees where we want trees planted in the down at the wetlands. We do have a project that we are going to be working on coming this fall, in addition to trees that we've already planted with the Outdoor Education Center. So you've kind of already seen some of the trees that we've been actively working on. And we're going to be having a new additional trees with the anticipation of potentially removing habitat with those eucalyptus, because there has been a project that the city has been discussing about removing eucalyptus out at the wetlands around certain areas that has been identified as a hazard, and so this is anticipation of a potential removal to replace that habitat. So there has been conversations about adding trees to the wetlands already, to Commissioner Christian's point. So we love the idea of adding more trees. We just want to make sure that they are the right tree in the right place, because we are noticing trees throughout the city. They are disruptive when it is next to a sidewalk. We are having a lot of trip and fall claims. And so we just want to be mindful of that. So we do understand the urban tree canopy. We understand how it is important to have shade, especially around trails and parks and sidewalks. We just need to be mindful because there is a safety element. And we are dealing a lot with tree removal lately because of how disruptive they can be when they mature and they're not planted correctly or they are not the right tree in the right place. So just keeping that in mind when we talk about adding more trees, that is just something that we want to also make sure that it's we have that safety element in mind too.
And if I could just reply to that.
Yeah.
I think that that would be part of the whole process of doing this, of getting more volunteers, that somebody planted a palm tree out there one time in the parking lot.
Those are water guzzlers.
What's his name, the superintendent? Brian Matern. He goes, Barry, you are not watering that tree. Yes. And so I think it finally got pulled out. But yeah, definitely. But I don't want that to stop us from
Correct.
harnessing the power of volunteers. And it's something for people to do. I've had people come by and say, hey, would you like any help? They wanted to get involved. And so I think there's a lot of potential there. But
Absolutely.
Yeah, and definitely planting the right trees.
Love the idea, love the ambition. I definitely think this is a really great program, really great conversation, and we can definitely propel on something that we're already doing.
All done?
Yeah.
Okay. I'd like to add to the tree conversation too that in addition to planning or just choosing trees for safety and their impact on infrastructure, we shouldn't forget about the trees' role in sustainability. There's a lot of trees that are ornamental, that are like false pollinators, like for example, crepe myrtles. Everybody loves the look of crepe myrtle, but they do nothing. They take up space that our bees and hummingbirds could be having, actual pollinating trees. So, I know that those are ones that cities like because they do have a low impact and they don't grow huge, their roots don't push up sidewalks, but we have native trees that I think we could figure out how they support our ecosystem and the safety and infrastructure. And I would even like to see us go a step further with the trees and see what it takes to become a tree city. City of Napa is a tree city. Is it like the bike award, where we could get some kind of funding or grants from that? Does that provide, residential trees or, something like that too? So I hope that that's a way we could get in on that. And then I also wanted to comment about another funding opportunity. I don't know if this is already one that has been looked at for climate adaptation and resiliency. The State of California Wildlife Conservation Board has a grant program. And so I have a printout here that I'll give to you. And then I don't know if we've actually applied for these or, I'm not sure what our history is, but I found that and I thought that was awesome. And like Nance said, I'd also hopefully we could get updates on the status of sustainability efforts. But that should probably be automatic, like every year. That's just always part of the plan since it is in our name. And, I don't know if we're going to go back to the list of was it the 33 items or 35? Yeah. Remember that? I don't know if we're, because the new plan, I think maybe is going to take the place of those items. These are the items the list with the low-hanging fruit. It was from the RCAP. It was like before the RCAP, right? Maybe it turned into. It has those items.
RCAP has a set of items in it.
Okay.
So.
We need to go back to that and find out what are our next things we're going to pick out of that. And I don't know how we do that now. Are we, because we're doing our work plan now, are we supposed to be choosing those items? So maybe every year when we have our work plan meeting, that RCAP needs to be a part of that too. Like, hey, what other items do we want to tackle out of that list? As far as the regional shoreline adaptation plan, I just wanted to add, I had attended the State of the Estuary Conference that's pretty much ran by the San Francisco Bay Area Institute, Estuary Institute, and BCDC. And it's a really great conference. It's every other year. So since it just happened in December 25, or October, it won't happen again until 27. But in the future, I think, that'd be great for Lauren, maybe a city council person and maybe a member of this committee, for that to be budgeted and funded for, those members to be able to go there and see what's going on Bay Area wise and get a better understanding of, where we're headed with the shoreline plans. In the past, we were offered to be able to go to some conferences. Maybe that's back when we were a committee.
I got sent to the state Trails Committee, and I went with Creighton and Shillong. It was down in San Diego.
Mm-hmm. There's been a parks one we were invited to before. And did you go to one before?
No, I went to, I can't remember the organization. I think it's Bay Area Together now, maybe? It used to be something else. But
Open Space Council used to be.
Yeah, but I think
Oh,
I
yeah,
just did
yeah.
that on my own. I don't think I was funded for it.
So we don't send commissioners to conferences. We don't send part-time staff to conferences. The only commission that goes to a conference because they are required to is the Planning Commission. And that's because they are required to.
Okay.
Yeah. And so that's because they are actually, it's part of their requirement. But we don't send part-time staff and we don't send commissioners to conferences.
So-
Only full-time staff.
So a full-time staff member and city council member. And then, announce it. I'm not going to be here at that time, but, bring it up to the commission and let them know what's going on so they could choose to go to it if they are interested. Okay, and that's all I have. Commissioner Shavaria?
Yes, I just wanted to comment on going over the recap of the fiscal year that we just are completing now. I'm reading it and I just think, wow, we've done a lot. And this is the completion of my first year with the commission, and I'm very proud of us. I think it's been this amazing list that we have, although we have a lot of work to do going forward in the next following fiscal year. I'm excited about each point that we have presented here, which is wildlife corridor planning analysis, the bicycle education safety programming, and I second that I would love to have a tree city, American Canyon as a tree city. That'd be amazing. And then also the reusable foodware ordinance for American Canyon. So going forward, in June, when we present to City Council, I guess we can go over exactly what the steps are
Do you have any suggestions for work?
going forward. And that's basically what I wanted to say, is that I just think that we've done so much and we have a lot to do, but it's exciting. So thank you.
Sure, thank you. Commissioner Bitt?
Yeah, that was really great. And also sorry for my voice, I was a little under the weather, but it was also my first year with you guys. And so it's just really great being able to be exposed to this commission, all that it does. And then I would also like to second the Tree City. I think one thing I've noticed just going through the years, through the middle school and then also the high school, there are a lot of people that walk. If you don't have a car, or even the e-bikes, biking, resorting to any of these alternatives, I think a Tree City would be especially beneficial. And I'm seeing a little bit of a pattern, a bothered pattern as it gets warmer in the year. And so I think prioritizing something like that would be great.
Thank you. All right. We kind of have a short list this year.
We did add some things.
We did.
And I think Ellie's going to tell us what we've added, and then,
Yeah, could you review what you have so far, besides the 4 items that are in the...
Sure. I have quite a few notes. and I'm sure you will all keep me honest if I miss something. We're going to put back on, as always, and I was actually going to make sure that this was going to be on there, but review the CIP. So keep the CIP initiatives on there because that's just a standing item that we'll always keep on there to make sure that any projects pertaining to open space, active transportation, or sustainability will come forward to this commission. So the last two items that you saw on your work plan will remain, which is going to be receive and file, review the fiscal year capital improvement programs, and then plan for the next upcoming fiscal year for CIP, and then leftover sustainability initiatives from this fiscal year, which includes increase the percentage of Marin clean energy, or at least understand what that progress was from this year, from last year to this year, and then engage with the youth of American Canyon. And so maybe we can talk a little bit about that, like what you want, how you want to engage, because I think we do need to get a better understanding of what that means, because engage with youth of American Canyon is pretty broad. And so I think we might want to spend some time around that this evening before we wrap that up tonight. And then we need to figure out where the county bike and ped plan is, and then connectors of parks. So wayfinding, Commissioner Mattson, did we want to add that to this year's plan?
Sure, if it's appropriate. Is it something that could also be on PCS, or is it?
We can
does it
just,
matter?
I mean, this is more
think it'd be
open
us.
space.
Well, it's also
This is more
active,
open space.
It's also active transportation, and that's
Yeah.
what I was thinking was,
Correct.
you know, helping people walk or bike and not to take their cars between parks. So I
Okay.
guess it does belong with us.
So
The
wayfinding.
trail connectivity also, yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So trail connectivity.
I'd like to take a shot at one more specific project, if it's appropriate. So the Class 1 trail on Green Island Road is scheduled to be completed this year. And that means you can come down Devlin from the airport, and then you can hit Green Island Road. You can either go left towards Highway 29, or you can go to the right, come down Commerce. So all of the one to the right, and then coming down Commerce through the Eucalyptus Grove and along Wetlands Edge Road, that's all going to get done. But when you get to Highway 29, you'll hit Paoli Loop. And I think Jason told me that's somewhere in the capital projects at some point. The Vine Trail looked at it, and they didn't make it part of their official route, mainly because it's only 4-foot sidewalks when you're coming underneath the freeway. But it's the only not at grade crossing in American Canyon of Highway 29. Anywhere else in American Canyon you go to cross 29, you're on the street and you can get hit by a car. You could cross Highway 29 by going underneath it at Paoli Loop Road, and no car on the freeway is going to hit you because you're going down underneath it. The approaches to it are all graded already, and some of them have asphalt already. It looks to me like it wouldn't really take very much at all to get that in, to upgrade that and make it available. And yeah, it's not the standard 6-foot or 8-foot or 10-foot that we would like, but the only part that's that narrow, that 4 feet wide sidewalk, is the part where you're right underneath the freeway. By my way of thinking, if you're anywhere else on the Vine Trail and you're crossing Highway 29 at a hawk signal or intersection, you're probably better off getting off your bike and walking that, it's about 100 feet. So to me, the 4 foot was never a big obstacle to using Paoli Loop. And that, since we're going to be able to get there from Devlin and then stop at Highway 29, let's have another crossing. Let's get under the freeway. And if Terry McGrath is successful with his initiative and they use Watson Lane to empty out, to extend Newell Drive, or if it goes up to Hess, we'll be ready when that happens. So I'd like to at least maybe look at it and see if we can, what it would cost, and would it, maybe a preliminary estimate, maybe try to bump it up in the priority rankings of trails that we're planning in American Canyon. Just to take advantage of the fact that the Green Island is going to be completed and will get us there. So why not take that extra step and actually get us across Highway 29 in a safe way? And then, yeah, it's not ready on the other side, but at least you're across there. And whether they go up Hess to South Kelly Road or Watson Lane gets extended down, we're ready when it happens. So if we can take a look at that somehow as part of our work plan, and in some fashion, I don't know
Barry,
specifically what needs to be done.
Assuming that would take like 10 years, is there, do you know if we could come back and go like along like tractor
What would take 10 years?
to get out to like the extension, the new extension happens? So let's just assume that. Is there a way, an alternative that we could go like up by Tractor Supply? That's all like wetland area, right? Like marshy? Or is there something there?
Well, yeah, as far as I know, you would have to cross a marsh there.
Okay.
The big thing's the at-grade. If we could get an at-grade crossing, and it's weird because it sounds like,
So,
Yeah.
this is not a project that's been identified by the council. Currently, right now, a Class 1 multi-use trail is part of the Green Island Road construction project. Approximately 4,200 feet of new multi-use trail will be constructed as part of that project. Anything beyond that is not a CIP project and has not been identified as a CIP project. To do any analysis, we don't have the expertise, we don't have the funding to add a project at this point. It has not been identified by the council as a project beyond what is already a project. It has not been brought to the council as a project, so adding a project at this point when the budget is already going to the council on May 19th as a draft and being adopted on June 2nd is going to be very unlikely as part of your work plan beyond what is already planned, because the 4,200 feet of the Class 1 trail as part of Green Island Road construction project is already part of the Green Island CIP project that's going to be completed this summer. So anything beyond that will need to be future discussions at the council level, and that will need to be brought to the Public Works and be part of a bigger conversation as the capital improvement program and be identified by the council.
but how does it get to council if nobody recommends it and says, hey, we want you to take a look at this in terms of adding it as a project, not to be done this year, but isn't that our job to identify projects that we think are significant and would be helpful and smart projects, and then say, hey, city council, we'd like to advise.
You as a member of the public can absolutely make that recommendation to the council and bring that to their attention and address them during public comment. You can address that to them one-on-one, but trying to put it on your work plan and trying to have that be a part of your work plan and do it that way that's not how you get a project.
But the wildlife corridor plan,
That's an analysis. That's an evaluation and analysis.
that's what I'm asking for, is an
Required by law.
evaluation and an analysis of the Pioli Loop as a future project.
Well, the wildlife one is required by law.
Yeah, that's
Have to
part of
look
the
at it.
general
Yeah,
plan.
but planting trees and being a tree city isn't required by law, and we're asking the city to look at this as a policy, as our recommendation, that they take a look at this. Because if we just wait, there's no mechanism except for Barry coming at public comment. But as a commission, isn't that our job to look at things that haven't been identified yet and say, hey, this makes sense, and it doesn't have to happen this year, but we think this should be identified and looked at for these reasons.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll quit there.
You bring up a good point, Barry.
that's a win. Thank
You do. You bring up a good point.
Shut up now.
I can absolutely talk to our city manager about it and see what his recommendation is, and and see if that's something that we could put on this year's work plan. It may need to wait until next year, but I can definitely bring that up to him and see what his recommendation is.
Great, yeah, because otherwise we can't even really discuss it. But if it's on our work plan, we can at least discuss it.
Yeah, let me,
Thanks.
I can.
Thanks, Sally.
Yeah, absolutely.
Commissioner Mattson?
It was related. I'm good.
Okay, nobody has anything else? We're good, everybody's good?
Did you mention the, oh, I think you did mention all the connect, you didn't, I wasn't sure if.
That's
I
right.
didn't think you
finished the
finished.
list.
I didn't
Okay.
finish.
Okay, we're back in.
I thought you were done, sorry.
Nope, it's okay. It's okay. Plant more trees in our parks and open spaces, and then potentially go out to be a tree city, and then the Paoli Loop with the Class 1 trail with the Green Island Road. I will look into that. And then I think that was it for the work plan, other than the other things that were already added. Is there anything else that I missed?
I don't see
No.
anything.
I mean, I just want to reiterate, I'm concerned about the regional climate action plan, that we're not tackling specific things on that list.
Unless you have specific things to tell me that you want to do today, I mean, we have some sustainability things already, but unless you have some things that you have today.
Well, I mean, honestly, it probably should be part of our agenda. I mean, it should be like an agenda attachment. That, like, always, like every year for the work plan, because that's like one of our core functions.
Are you thinking like getting updates from staff on progress, or are you thinking coming up with what we're going to focus on, what staff might
Focus on,
actually, we can't direct staff to do their work, so it actually would be us focusing on it.
yeah.
So
Well, I mean, Jason, when we first started, directed us to choose the 2 or 3 low-hanging fruit, and then we're supposed to do those and then move on from that, but we really haven't moved on from that.
So the whole point of this staff report, so when we provided the staff report, was for the commission to take the staff report, and we provided the recommendations, and for the commission to bring their additional ideas to add to this evening in preparation for us to prepare the agenda packet for the meeting for June. The commission is absolutely able to add to the work plan, but that's up to your recommendation on what you want to add to that. I provided recommendations of what we felt that should be added. If you think that there's additional items, that was the opportunity for this evening. To add the sustainability checklist of the 36 items attached to the RCAP, that's never something that has been added to this item for the last couple years that I've been doing this. If that's something that this commission would like to see moving forward, that absolutely can be a part of that request. But for the work plan every single year of this commission, it's always just been the ordinance, your past work plan, recommendations, and this commission is expected to bring their recommendations as well. And then staff also provides recommendations. And so if there's a different expectation in the future, then we can absolutely set that precedent. But I was not aware that that was the expectation.
Okay. So this agenda is also for the public to review too, right? So if we were going to bring up a document like that, does it need to be attached to the agenda?
What document?
The county, the
RCAP?
RCAP? Thank you.
Yeah, if you, it doesn't, I didn't reference it because it's not part of this packet.
Okay. I would like to recommend that all future work plan meetings, that be attached until it's complete.
Well, it's not, maybe we can talk offline about what that means, because that's a regional plan and it's not even, hasn't even been adopted yet. So We received an update on it back in
So is that the?
October?
Is that what's, like, we're frozen on that now because it hasn't been adopted?
No, I guess what I'm trying to say is that the RCAP, we received an update on the RCAP. Give me a second. Where is it in my notes?
Do you want to jump in now or wait? Do you want to jump in now or wait? Okay.
So we received an update on the Regional Climate Action Adaptation presentation on September 16th of 2025. The 36 items that you're referencing, I believe that was maybe even previous work plan.
I think
from
it was
2
the
years
draft,
ago.
it was the draft city climate, whatever,
It was-
adaptation plan that ad hoc committee put together. I think that's what you're talking about, not the
Yeah, it was
RCAP, but
It was pre-RCAP.
pre-RCAP.
Yeah, but then the
Yeah.
RCAP was like based off of that somehow, right?
maybe, yeah.
Expanded upon.
Can I make a suggestion?
Absolutely.
So we have, can you read back what you have for sustainability first, and then I'll see what I think might wordsmith to maybe meet the needs or clarify
So
the
get an
needs.
update from the Marin Clean Energy Deep Green customers, our progress of where we're at. Engage with the youth of American Canyon. Again, we probably need to figure out what that means. And then we have a hold. It's been paused because it's been put on hold because of the RCAP, because that has not been adopted yet, because that's a regional climate adaptation plan. The roadmap to 2030 to engage with American Canyon businesses and residents in pursuit of the social acceptability and support for actions needed to accomplish these goals. And then be a part of the Sea Level Rise Plan is what we have for sustainability. Oh, and trees. Plant more trees and become a tree city.
Okay, so what
And
I
then
was,
also I'm sorry, and then also the other items. So the other items, the recommendation that we made, in addition, the wildlife, residential tree planting program, and then the reusable foodware ordinance for American Canyon.
and
So there's
then we-
quite a few sustainability, there's
Yeah.
quite a few sustainability things on this plan already.
Okay. I'd like to have something in there that interacts with Lauren and what she's working on. And I'm sure that her scope is being developed as, as it evolves, but it would be good to have regular updates, and if there's things she wants us to review and give input to.
She's most likely going to be, so she will be working with you on the tree situation, the tree program, the sustainability ordinance, for the reusable. So she'll be involved in a lot of this stuff.
Okay, so if she's got something that she wants to tell us, can she just do it in the management report? Like if there's this new idea, just a FYI to the commission.
Oh, totally.
So maybe that's how to handle that, and it doesn't have to go in the work plan. But thanks. I don't
Yeah,
know
and
if
I'm
that-
sure-
I don't know
and
if that takes
again-
care of what you wanted, but I wanted
And
to make sure
again,
we
we
had that
also are
link.
taking this draft work plan to the council, and they may have additional items that they may want to add as well.
Right.
So also keep that in mind, because we're bringing this draft plan to them, and they may have additional things that they want you to work on.
Ally, you mentioned that you made some recommendations on what to include. I just want to make sure that those got included. That's
Yes.
nothing that we had to vote on. It's in
Yeah,
there.
it's the
Good, okay,
wildlife
good.
corridor planning analysis, the bicycle education, and we can add e-bikes if you want to add the e-bike situation. We can always add that in. the residential tree planting program, because that's a carryover from last fiscal year, and then the reusable foodware ordinance is what we had recommended. And that actually came from Napa Climate Now. That was actually a request from them directly. They sent us an email asking us to look into that.
So with the bicycle, or the feedback report that we got?
Yeah.
And then identified the education, it didn't, so it left it open as K through 12, it didn't really specify ages. Did it, I'm having a hard time recalling it right now, did it mention e-bikes in that?
Kara sent Nance and I an email, and she's the one who kind of recommended including e-bikes because of all the activity that's happening specifically in California around e-bikes. In the report card, so there was a lot of things that, I read the report card, and there was a lot of things that, quite frankly, that it was hard to really incorporate into this year's work plan that I thought that would be accomplished just by this commission alone. And so I really tried to look at something that I thought that maybe would be really meaningful. And so that the one item that I thought that would be really, that we could really do together was the education and outreach around students around K through 12, and that it really is around that. And then Kara Werner with the Napa County Bicycle Coalition reached out to us and said we should really consider e-bike education as well. Okay. And I think that's really pertaining to what's happening in California, and there's a lot of talks around laws changing around e-bikes, in particular with minors.
Okay. Yeah, I would like to add too that I've seen definitely an uptick of probably high school age kids, on like Shenandoah and Silver Oak and Newell, going as fast as cars in the middle of the road, and
yeah, it's really
somebody's
scary.
going to get hurt. Yeah, so there we
Yeah.
go.
Can you?
And it's not even what we're noticing, because I've sat in quite a few meetings statewide. It's not even the e-bikes, it's the motorcycles. It's like it's the motorbikes, and that's the scary part. And it's the parents that are just uninformed. And so it's really interesting conversations that are happening right now, and it's just really interesting.
Can you include scooters in there? Because e-bikes is a separate class, and then motorcycles is a separate class. But I see a lot of scooters. And in terms of education, I'm sure that's some of the people that you've seen hauling down the middle of the street. I think some of us are referring to it as wheeled vehicles.
Totally, yeah.
That kind of takes
Battery
that.
operated.
Well, yeah, electric wheeled vehicles. That takes scooters, mopeds, go-peds, bicycles, all of that as a class compared to a pedestrian.
Non-car, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
below car, but
Yeah.
And instead of bikes, sometimes now they're referring to the motorcycles as e-motos.
Yeah.
Because e-bikes, class 1, are getting mixed up because those motors are getting more power and torque, not faster, but more torque. So they're starting to classify or generically label the motorcycles e-motos to distinguish.
And just to be clear, class 1, 2, and 3 are all the same size motor, maximum 750 watts. The thing about the class 3 is it just keeps helping you until you get to 28 miles an hour, whereas a class 1 only keeps helping you till you get to 20 rather than 28. But they're the same size, and it's anything that's above the 750 watts that is no longer considered a bicycle, and that pops it into the GoPed or motorcycle class, which is separate and not allowed on class 1 pathways.
So Ally, you said that we should have a conversation about which youth?
Yes, maybe we can elaborate what we mean by engage with the American Canyon youth. So maybe we can tap into our youth commissioner on what that means. Maybe you can provide some insight to us on how we can engage and around open space, sustainability, and active transportation. Like maybe you have some recommendations for us.
Yeah, specifically, is this kind of like getting youth feedback or just trying to enforce or encourage messages? Is there anything specific or just in general, like engage with the youth, bottom line? Okay, yeah, I think, yeah, everything. I think one thing that's great, I do this at a lot of like the internships I do and things like that. They go directly to their target audience, which is everyone's at the high school because or like the schools in general, just go where you'll know they'll be and then kind of force people into engaging with you because a lot of the time, if you open up an opportunity, people won't just reach out or engage on their own terms. And so I think connecting with classes in administration directly would be a great idea. A lot of the time during school we have assemblies within your class, so something like that, and that really gets everyone's attention. And I think just going straight to the source and finding your target audience there rather than like extending out a hand and hoping someone engages with you would be best.
Do you find, so what kind of, when we did Citizens Academy, did you think that format was really engaging, or do you find it, or are you looking for something a little bit different? Like what would you recommend for the type of format that you're looking for?
I think Citizens Academy was great. Ali actually came to all the senior econ and government classes, and she had snacks. I think like an incentive, especially. Yeah, that
and
really.
I yelled at all the students.
Yeah, I think having something like that was great. People were really engaged. I've never seen my peers like that before, but yeah, I think that format was great. And I also think the fact that it was a class was a little bit more personal and intimate. That's just like 30 people compared to like if you were coming to an assembly and then it's one entire grade that's like 400 people. And so, yeah, I think that format was pretty great.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you, Catherine.
Could I ask a question about the e-bikes in the high school? Are there any kind of educational thing at the school? Is it talked about?
Not necessarily. I think part of it is because e-bike culture, or at least from what I've seen, e-bike culture isn't super common. People just walk or have cars, but I definitely see people using them. So
Where do they put the e-bikes when they're at school?
we have bike racks, so I'm pretty sure they put them there, but I have seen people on scooters. I'm not necessarily sure if they put them there either, but yeah, I don't think I've seen very minimal e-bike like messages or anything about, or awareness or anything about that.
Warnings.
Yeah, warnings.
Okay.
Great, thank you. Thank you for your perspective.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else?
You have your answers on the youth?
I
what you were
think
looking
so.
for?
I
Okay.
think so. I think we have a lot tonight. I'm going to go back and rewatch
Can we have
this.
a line item for snacks?
I have a line item for snacks, and lots of snacks. And what Catherine didn't tell you is I made them participate, and they only got a snack if they participated.
Good tool.
And I would throw things at them.
That's the
Snacks. I would
the
throw
mom in
snacks
you.
at them.
Yeah, that kind of goes hand in hand with the forcing people kind of into engaging with you.
Yes, I had good snacks. I'm a mom of 3, so I have a teenager in my house, so I know what they like to eat.
Yeah,
so.
you got it. You got it.
All right. Excellent. Okay, I think we're done. Is there any management staff oral reports?
I just want to remind, we'll go through the process before, I'm sorry, Chair, before we move on, I do want to just go over the process for June 16th. So what we'll do for that, staff will go back and we will prepare the staff report based off of this evening. Typically what you'll see for that staff report is something very similar to tonight. We will provide an update to the council of all your accomplishments, celebrating all the great work that this commission has done. I think it's a great opportunity to share with the council all the wonderful work you all have done this past year, and show them how great you've been. And then we will propose to them your draft work plan, and then It'll be a back and forth conversation. The council will be at the dais. You'll be in front of them. You'll have an opportunity to engage with them. And they will engage with you. They'll ask you questions, and then they'll potentially add items to your work plan and tell you what else they would like you to work on. And then they'll approve your work plan, and then you'll be good to go. And so that's pretty much what the 16th will look like. And so please just be prepared to engage and have a great conversation with council, because they're going to want to hear from you directly on how this past year went and what you want to see for the future.
Is it back to back with the PCS or just us?
It is back to back with PCS. I will confirm if you are going first or second, so please just look out for my email. I can't recall off the top of my head of who's going first, so just look out for my email, please.
Okay.
But I will send a confirmation email later this week, early next week, of who will be going first.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. All right, this meeting is,
Before you do that, this is Catherine's last meeting, right?
I believe I have one more for June, because
Oh,
that's
good.
right
Right.
before I
Okay.
graduate. Yeah.
Congratulating you in advance and thanking you in advance.
Thank you. But you could definitely see me at next month's meeting.
Yes, you better be there next
Yeah.
June.
okay, this meeting is adjourned at 7:55.